Ya, déjame que me están haciendo una llamada, ya vuelvo.
No te estoy escuchando.
Es que me entró una llamada.
Ah, ok.
Por
Eso
eso.
es lo que me preocupa a mí, que me entre una llamada, por eso lo estoy haciendo desde el computador.
Ah, ya. Claro. No, yo lo pongo, voy a tener en cuenta eso y lo voy a poner en modo avión.
Buena idea, no lo había pensado.
Sí.
Es que mi papá lleva más de 30 años, más de 40 años en el negocio y más de 30 años trabajando con la India. Hemos
Uy,
ido varias veces allá, yo he ido para varios matrimonios, entonces es muy emocionante para nosotros.
ay, qué bueno. Yo llevo trabajando con India algo más de 10 años
Sí.
y mi esposa es de la India.
¿De verdad?
Entonces, sí, señor, sí,
Wow.
ella es de Mumbai. Y yo voy y vuelvo constantemente también asistiendo a los empresarios de diversos sectores, tecnología, farmacéuticos, químicos. Entonces he ido y vuelto varias veces. La conexión también es bastante fuerte, no solo profesional, sino familiar.
Claro, claro.
Nosotros tenemos que hablar así, viene a la oficina y hablamos más directo porque así y que nosotros mandamos mucho esmeraldas en Colombia para hacer beats, que ellos
Sí,
hacen beats. Yo mandaba antes más entre 70 hasta 100 kilos mensual estaba mandando allá bruto
uy,
en Jaipur.
sí, en
Trabajamos mucho
Jaipur.
en Jaipur y todavía tengo mucha gente allá.
Ve, qué bueno. Yo conocí a un señor que se llamó Roberto Martínez, tal vez ustedes lo referencian.
Hay mucho, no hay el mundo que uno hace Esmeralda Colombia que no conocen a nosotros. No
Qué
hay.
bueno.
En Hong Kong, Bangkok, Israel, no, Estados Unidos, en India, Europa, que hacen Esmeralda de Colombia que no conocen a nosotros.
Yeah. Krishan?
Yes, I am here.
Yeah, Ninad here. We just got a message that Mr. Ashok Goyal will not be able to join.
Ashok Goyal.
Yeah, will not be able to join. So I think what you do is whatever question was there for him, you can skip that question for time being.
Okay,
Yeah, that makes sense because we cannot change it now.
okay, no issues.
So we are deleting the slide from Ashok Goyal's slide from what you had shared with us, the final one.
Okay,
Also, Christian, you will introduce all the panelists, and Ajay will move your slide so that each slide Ajay will be moving from my team here.
okay,
Okay. So when you
Okay.
come, then you will tell please next, and then Ajay will keep changing that to the next.
okay,
So this
Good.
way we can introduce both the panelists.
okay, fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
¿Cómo vamos? ¿Qué tal todo?
Hola, Guillermo, buenos días.
¿Cómo van?
Bien,
bien.
Guillermo, buenos días.
¿Qué cuentan?
Me gustó
No muestro el ombligo para abajo porque no es apto para este horario.
Te escucho con eco. ¿Tienes dos prendidos?
El tema del audio, precisamente. Porque tengo el speaker del celular, entonces del teléfono, entonces me hace.
Por eso creo.
Me hace.
Speakers.
Ahí está Cristian, sí. Cristian, ¿estás por ahí? Sí.
Sí, señor, aquí estoy.
Igual iba a estar como en dos reuniones, entonces que si cualquier pregunta le tocaba a él o algo, todo. Y mientras tanto yo le arrancaba la pregunta, o dicho, yo como le trataba de responder si él no alcanzaba, cualquier cosa.
De Eduardo, de Eduard o Edwin. Es que se escucha con eco.
¿Y ahora sí mejor?
Sí, señor.
Y ahora mejor. Mister Vijay, how are you? How's everything? Everything good?
I see Ankur. Good morning, Ankur.
Vijay.
Yes, how are you?
Good.
Hi, Mr. Benny. How are you? Hi, Johnny.
I'm
Hi.
good. Thank you.
Long
Everything
time. How is health
okay?
and everything?
Ankur is here also.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Galvez, is everything okay?
Yes, everything okay. How are you, Mr. Vijay?
Yeah, everything okay here.
How is things with the family and the people in Jaipur? How is this problem?
Pardon?
How is everything there in Jaipur and all the people, the trade for the COVID? How everything well?
Yeah, but what about there, the business start?
Mr. Benny can tell you more. Johnny, how you
Yeah.
say about business? Start or no start?
Johnny, business start there?
Business is moving a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Waiting
But
for you to come.
what?
Colombia is waiting for Mr. Vijay.
No, he likes it here.
Last week Nagesh was here.
Guillermo, se te oye con eco. No sé por qué.
Mira,
Se oye.
que me está haciendo la broma acá. ¿Ya mejoró o igual?
No, sigue igual. Es que se oye doble. No con eco, sino doble.
We have to put on myself.
Cierro esta vaina.
I'm having some issues with my sound, so I'm going to disconnect and reconnect with my cell phone. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
गुड इवनिंग हाउ आर यू
Hi, Colin bhai, कैसे हैं?
बस बढ़िया है एक
Fine.
मिनट आई जस्ट पुट ऑन माय जैकेट
Sure.
I'm back. I just want to check. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, we can hear you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Good evening, good morning, good evening.
Good morning and good evening to everybody.
Morning.
नमस्कार रोहित जी
नमस्कार, कैसे हैं राम बाबू जी?
बस जी बस्ती
ये आगे है पैनल, ये पीछे है।
Do we need this on the screen right now? और क्या विजय जी, क्या न्यूज़?
बस फाइन। कैसे चल रहा है?
क्या कर रहे हो आजकल?
बस अभी चल रहा है थोड़ा थोड़ा। अभी आपके पास कल इनविटेशन आ जाएगा अपना, एक वो कर रहे हैं रफ का ऑक्शन कम अपना एग्जीबिशन, तो जेमफील्ड वालों को बुला लिया अपने कौंसिल की तरफ से, और अच्छा बड़ा इवेंट, अच्छा इवेंट हो जाएगा वो।
ओके, वेरी नाइस।
तो आपको आना है जयपुर ऑन मंडे।
ऑन मंडे?
या नहीं, अभी वो सारा सॉर्ट आउट हुआ, काफी उसमें प्रॉब्लम्स आ गई थी कस्टम से भी, और ये क्योंकि बड़ा पार्सल था तो अभी आज छूट गया पार्सल।
ओके,
तो अब उसको अपना मंडे एग्जीबिशन किया है।
अच्छा।
तो कस्टम अपने जयपुर कस्टम कमिश्नर वगैरह सब रहेंगे। कस्टम कमिश्नर से अपन ने ओपनिंग करवाई है, तो कल सुबह आपके पास वो आ जाएगी मेल, और वो सब का भी फाइनल कर दिया था। तो ओपनिंग पे आ जाना, मंडे सुबह 12 बजे का रखा है।
विजय जी।
Hi, boss. Nice to see you.
Yeah, who's this?
This is Rohit.
Hi Rohit.
Bas, this is the first, I think, face-to-face formal interaction.
Yeah, first time. Yeah. How are you?
Bas, all well. Just got tied up with the present situation, which we all.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
How are things in Agra?
I'm based in Noida now, so yeah, things are okay. For us, especially being in silver jewelry business, it's sandwiched between imitation for fashion and gold. So silver always has an advantage, especially during these times.
Since Mansukh bhai is not organized dinner, I'm having some food. Mansukh.
Yeah, that's nice. I just had now I've started having my dinner at 6, so that's what I've started doing it. So it's just helping me out.
Suresh ji, good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening. Am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you. So how do we say good evening in Spanish?
Buenas noches.
Sorry?
Buenas noches. But here is so buenos días.
¿Me regalas un bolígrafo? ¿Me lo pasas así? Porque ya
Agora bom dia.
Buenas noches.
Agora bom dia.
Buen día.
Bom dia.
Ahora buen día. En Colombia is good day. Because it's
Yeah.
I think so. It's time. Good evening, everybody, and good morning.
We are going live in 1 minute.
Yes, I think some of the Colombian delegates are having problem with the connection, so I'm just helping them to get connected.
2 more minutes.
Buenos días.
Christian, can we start?
Yes, I think we are complete. We can start. Good morning, Dr. Mantilla.
So, yes, so.
Buenos días.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening and hearty welcome from the Gem and Jewelry Export Promotion of Council of India. And we are starting today's India Global Connect. It is the India Global Connect with Colombia, and this is the second India Global Connect that the Gem and Jewelry Export Promotion Council is doing after a very successful Global Connect meeting with UK, United Kingdom. And we are thankful to our embassy, Indian embassy in Colombia, for the generous and gracious help. We are also thankful to the Colombia India Chamber of Commerce and the Bogota Chamber of Commerce for their gracious help. And of course, we work under the aegis of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, the Department of Commerce, Government of India. And we are, very honored that we are having with us His Excellency, Mr. Sanjeev Ranjan, the Ambassador of India in Colombia,
we are having with us Mr. S. Suresh Kumar. He is the IAS Joint Secretary, Department of Commerce, who is in charge of the Gem and Jewelry Division in the Ministry of Commerce, and also in charge of the North American part of the country as a country commodity index of the Ministry of Commerce. We have with us Mr. Colin Shah. He is the chairman of Gem and Jewelry Export Promotion Council. We have with us Mr. Mansukh Kothari, who is the convener of the events. We have with us Mr. Vijay Kedia, who is also a member of our board, who is the convener of the Gemstones panel of the council. So with a warm welcome to everybody, we start today's India Global Connect. The India Global Connect, this is a concept, program which we have conceptualized in the council. We have found that during this unprecedented pandemic, the medium of connecting with the global, business community throughout the world is basically through the internet. And that has given an opportunity of getting connected without, physically traveling, which itself we found it very difficult in our past times. In Latin America, on part of the council, we had taken a delegation in 2003. Of course, that has not gone to Colombia. But in Colombia, on 2018-19, we have gone as part of the delegation of CIBJO when the CIBJO Congress happened. And that was an absolutely pleasurable experience for all of us. And we look forward to this global connect with the Colombian business community, the Colombian gem and jewelry community, with our community. And this is the first such connect. Of course, our business people, our members are already doing business with the Colombian gemstone, dealers, gemstone merchants. But we want to expand that into bilateral trade. Of course, we want to also look at Colombian exports of gems and jewelry. So I leave it upon to our Excellency, His Excellency Sanjeev Ranjan, Ambassador of India to Colombia, to just start the program with a welcome address. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Buenos días a todos los participantes de Colombia, and good evening to all participants in India. Just like you, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all the participants in this meeting under this brand new India Global Connect initiative, an initiative of your council. It is a very timely meeting, and I would like to thank your council and the India-Colombia Chamber of Commerce for organizing it. I would also like to thank Joint Secretary Suresh Kumar for taking time out of his busy schedule to participate in this meeting. This in itself is an indication of the importance India attaches to this very important sector for India. I also understand that you had organized 2 very useful meetings with your counterparts in Colombia, which is truly remarkable in these difficult times. I also understand that the meetings were very useful and well received by the importers here, retail chains and distributors, especially those I understand in the silver and imitation jewelry sectors. A los participantes en Colombia, imagínese vastas extensiones de un desierto, de un amarillo brillante a la luz del sol. Imagínese los coloridos trajes de la gente de este lugar. Imagínese la variada gastronomía del lugar. Me hubiera gustado mucho que pudieras haber tenido esa experiencia en persona. Con suerte, el Consejo considerará patrocinar la visita de una delegación de Colombia para tener esta experiencia en persona. Por su propia naturaleza, las joyas se aprecian mejor físicamente, dado el impacto de la pandemia y la falta de confianza del consumidor. El uso de la tecnología, como dijo antes, es algo que tenemos que fijarse para aumentar ese intercambio entre nuestros 2 países. For all the participants in India, what I just said was that imagine the vast deserts of Rajasthan, the colored clothes of the people over there, and the varied cuisine of India. And I said that, as times improve, maybe the council will sponsor a visit of a delegation from Colombia to India to see the sector in person And I said, because of its very nature, jewelry is best appreciated physically. And given the fact that we have a pandemic, perhaps, technology is, as was mentioned earlier, the way out to enhance exchange and as well as trade between our two countries. The objective of this meeting is to explore, obviously, the business opportunities which exist in both countries. I would submit that the possibilities of direct sourcing colored gemstones is also something that I would like Indian businesses to explore. Obviously, as you would be aware, gold mining is an important sector for Colombia, and the Colombian government is in fact placing a lot of emphasis on gold mining and production as a policy for economic recovery after the pandemic. Colombia, as you are aware, you have visited here in 2018, not so far back, is one of the largest producers, and India one of the largest importers. So the conditions for developing a strong basis for trade in this sector is already there. Currently, as you would be aware, trade between our two countries is dominated by few products. For example, our exports are dominated by motorcycles, textiles, chemical, pharma products. And Colombia's exports, in turn, are dominated by exports of primary commodities, including obviously emeralds, coal, petroleum, and a few other items. So the case for diversification of our trade is very much already present, and our trade basket should now also include gems and jewelry in an important manner. Your emphasis, your initiative to organize these interactions is the way forward as we look at the pandemic panning out over the next quarter of next year. India-Colombia relations reached a historic milestone in 2019 when the two countries celebrated 60 years of establishment of diplomatic relations. In the wake of the pandemic, unfortunately, like many other economies in the world, Colombia is projected to contract between 6 to 8.5% this year. But in 2021, it is expected to rebound to over 4% growth, which augurs very well for exploring potential opportunities to expand bilateral trade and investment in a wide range of sectors. Just as gems and jewelry is an important sector, there are other areas such as engineering, gold, IT, pharma, textile, just to name agricultural implements, just to name a few of them. The bilateral trade, the India-Colombia bilateral trade also is not untouched by the negative impact of the pandemic and currently stands at around $1.8 billion from a high of over $4 billion just a few years back. As we rethink, reorient, and re-strategize our commerce and our trade between the two countries, the scope for denser bilateral economic relations will become a reality sooner than later. Both our governments, India and Colombia, are invested in working towards a partial scope agreement that would involve reduction in duties on goods exported by each other's countries. This is something which is a work in progress. My sense sitting here in Bogota is that the opportunities that are available for both sides are immense. We have to work hard to try to see what are the mechanisms that need to be utilized to expand this trade. I would like to thank you very much for once again for organizing this, and I warmly wish all of you a very productive meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Sanjeev Ranjan, Ambassador of India to Colombia. And now I would request our Joint Secretary, the Joint Secretary to the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Suresh Kumar, to address the India Global Connect Colombia.
Good evening, friends from India, and buenos dias, friends from Colombia. We all are passing through a very difficult time, wherein the entire global community is concerned about COVID pandemic, trying to recover from the impact which it had on the public health, economy, and the general well-being of the people of each country. Exports and imports of all the countries in the world are also adversely impacted by this. We all know that such an impasse cannot continue forever. So we are trying to devise mechanisms by which we can continue with our business. And I'm happy to share that Gems and Jewelry Export Promotion Council, one of the major export promotion councils of India, has come up with this India Global Connect, a business networking meet through the virtual media to connect with the buyers and sellers across the globe. And this is the second such meeting which we are having with Colombia. I thank His Excellency Ambassador and all the other participants for taking time out to join this. As Ambassador has already mentioned, Colombia is one of our long-standing partners in Latin American region, and we have considerable trade, and it is in fact the second largest export destination for India. And as I was going through the information, since I handle this Latin American region as well as gems and jewelry in the Commerce Ministry, it was very interesting. When I was going through the note, I found that gold is one of the major items which we import from Colombia. Almost 60% of our import from Colombia is actually gold. And this entire gold, we know that goes into the gems and jewelry sector for manufacturing jewelry and all. And India is renowned for its craftsmanship in making diamond, gold, silver, gemstones, and other jewelries. And we have considerable market share in most of this. Now, almost about $40 billion of export is what India do in this sector. And this is about 6.2% of the global share. And we are, in fact, leading in the top 1 to 5 position in terms of cut and polished diamonds, gold jewelry, silver jewelry, colored gemstones, and all other similar products. Now, India has attained this position without having any mining of rough diamond or even the gold reserves. Almost 99% of the raw material for this sector is imported to the country. And we, in fact, turn it into beautiful, attractive products, be it diamond or gold or silver or precious stones. So India's role in this global value chain for gems and jewelry sector can be thus very well understood. What an important role India actually plays in this. Now, gems and jewelry market of Colombia is well endowed with the mineral resources, including platinum, gold, and silver. I was told that this Colombia is synonym to the emerald mines, and it produces almost 70 to 90% of the world's emerald. And can you believe that 90% of that emerald comes to India for cutting and polishing, and in turn from India it is exported to the other parts of the world. Whereas the market in Colombia for gems and jewelry is not very big today. Annual import by Colombia in this sector is only about $68.71 million US. And that too mainly dominated by countries like China, Italy, Thailand, and Poland. India's share in the import in Colombian market is very, very less. I think we can actually look at that also. Gems and jewelry trade between India and Colombia, which is very, very small today, as I just now mentioned, will have to increase further. Increase beyond the import of gold from Colombia. At this backdrop, it is felt that this Indian Global Connect, this platform is going to provide great opportunity for buyers and sellers in these two countries to actually connect with each other and explore the new trade possibilities and linkages in each other's market. I am also happy to share that GJEPC has also developed a virtual platform for conducting virtual trade fairs, wherein they have put in place large number of designs, large number of different new designs, and hundreds of sellers are actually available in this platform. So since COVID has taught us many lessons, this is one lesson wherein, till we are able to travel physically, this has to be the new normal, wherein, this virtual platform will have to be used for all our business transactions. I'm quite hopeful that today's India-Colombia Connect will create a win-win situation for both the countries and the traders and businessmen from both the sides, to create a new opportunity for both of them. I take this opportunity to once again thank all the participants and also wish all the best for this initiative by GJEPC. Thank you. Gracious.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Mr. Suresh Kumar, the Joint Secretary to the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, the Department of Commerce, Government of India. And now we move forward. We welcome Mr. Jaime Mantilla. He is the Executive President of the Colombia, India Chamber of Commerce and Board Member of the Bogota Chamber of Commerce. I request, sir, Mr. Jaime Mantilla, the Executive President of the Colombia, India Chamber of Commerce and Bogota and Board Member of the Bogota Chamber of Commerce, to say a few words to start this session on India-Colombia Global Connect.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Colombia. Good evening, India. A special greeting for the all friends from GGEPC. Igualmente, quiero dar un especial saludo al señor embajador Rajan Jangir. De verdad, lo hemos tenido en el corazón debido a la muerte de su señor padre en las últimas semanas. De verdad, esta pandemia no permite en un momento dado una fluida comunicación como hubiéramos querido para expresarle nuestros sentimientos de solidaridad y apoyo en estos momentos muy dolorosos. Cristian, le agradezco.
Yes, good evening, everyone, and a special message to Ambassador Sanjeev Rajam that we have him in the heart. Unfortunately, some personal issue happened during this pandemic time, and we wanted to share closer with him, but we know that now it's not possible, but we have you, sir, in our heart.
Thank you. Este sector definitivamente para Colombia es un sector súper importante. Yo creo que las noticias que se han generado en los últimos días han sido muy, pero muy trascendental para el porvenir de este sector.
I believe this sector is very important for Colombia, and it's a crucial sector in the actual situation. The latest news shared in the different media shows an interesting pathway, and especially for this sector.
El pasado viernes, el señor presidente de la República inauguró una muy, pero importante mina de oro en la población de Buriticá, Antioquia.
Last week, the president of Colombia inaugurated a very big and important gold mine in Buriticá, in Santander.
Antioquia.
In the region of Santander. Oh, sorry, in Antioquia, which is on the west side of Colombia, of the country.
Es una mina de 35.7 kilómetros con 2.318 empleados y una inversión de $610 millones.
It's a gold mine of more than 37 kilometers with more than 2,000 employees and with a very big investment.
Va a aumentar la producción por lo menos en un 30%.
The production of gold will increase around 30% more.
Y igualmente con algo muy importante, una total y absolutamente amigable con el medio ambiente.
And something that is very important, it's a friendly environment gold mine.
Agregado esto indiscutiblemente a que Colombia es el primer productor y las esmeraldas más lindas del mundo, Igualmente, el diseño y la innovación está en primer nivel.
Add to this, to mention that Colombia is one of the most important producers of emeralds, with design, with good quality, and innovation is part of it too.
Por lo tanto, creo que están ya dados muchos elementos importantes para asegurar un gran fortalecimiento de ese sector.
Therefore, I believe the basis to strengthen this sector is there. They are already there.
Elemento fundamental indiscutiblemente es esa inercia con la India, con el querido pueblo de la India, donde se pueden de verdad en este sector impulsar muchos negocios.
A key factor in this relationship indeed is our relationship with India that can help to push and move forward this sector.
Conocemos y hemos visto de primera mano cómo las mujeres, muy bellas mujeres de la India, se adornan con joyas y lucen todavía más hermosas.
We know firsthand and we have seen how Indian ladies wear jewelry and how even though without jewelry they are beautiful, with jewelry they look even more beautiful.
Agradezco la invitación que nos han hecho y cuenten siempre con nuestro apoyo. Estaremos desde la Cámara de Comercio de Bogotá, desde el Centro de Exposiciones de Ferias, Exposiciones de Bogotá igualmente, atentos a colaborar y a producir los mejores hechos para impulsar muchos negocios.
I'm very thankful for this invitation, and you can count with us in the Bogota Chamber of Commerce, also with Corferias, the biggest fair complex in the country, to support and to improve this sector.
Bueno, muchas gracias, muchos éxitos y cuenten siempre con nosotros.
Thank you so much. A lot of success, and you can count with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jaime Mantilla, the Executive President of Colombia India Chamber of Commerce and Board Member of the Bogota Chamber of Commerce. Now, I would request our Chairman, Mr. Colin Shah of GJPC, to give a presentation on the Indian industry and GJPC.
Mr. Shah, you are on mute.
Sorry. Good morning, everyone in Colombia. Good evening, everyone in India. Excellency, Sanjeev, Rajan ji, Suresh Kumar ji, all our friends in Colombia, very warm welcome. And thank you, Sabya, for this, wonderful initiative that we've all done at GJPC. So to give you a quick synopsis of what Council is today in the Indian context for, our gems and jewelry sector, and what is it that we could do with Colombia going forward. I'll quickly take you through this presentation. Can we go to the next slide, please? So one is GJPC, for all our viewers, we are 55 years old. It's one of the oldest, export promotion councils from India. We represent all our industries' challenges and act as a trade facilitator, a bridge between the industry and the government. And I must say over here that the government's been extremely instrumental in, transforming, this sector from handcrafted, very, MSME kind of industry to being a global leader today. So like even Sureshi mentioned earlier, we don't have a diamond mine. We have very little gold mining in the country and very little gemstone mining in the country. But in spite of that, over the last 50 years, India has become a global leader in diamonds, a global leader in, studded gold jewelry, silver jewelry, and one of the largest manufacturers for gemstones in the world. So all that has happened because of the Indian entrepreneurial spirit, of course, but the government's been extremely instrumental in being very proactive when it came to our industry issues. Besides what we do with the government, the council also is, and today's initiative and many more initiatives that we do during the course of the year is the bioseller meets, trade delegations to our countries wherever there is potential for either sourcing raw material or potential for building a new market. We do the IIJS, which is the largest show in India, and we do 2 editions. One is in Feb and August. And I would take this opportunity to invite our friends in Colombia. The ambassador did mention, we should do a delegation from Colombia to India. So nothing better than either the Feb, if that's suitable for travel, or the next edition in August, where we'll be happy to host a delegation from Colombia for our IIJS. Besides that, we have common facility centers across the country. This really helps the manufacturers in all our cross sections to access the latest tech without investing in huge capital for their own factories. So it's a brilliant initiative, again spearheaded by the Commerce Ministry. And we have several already set up pan-India and many more on the way in the next couple of years. Besides that, we have a Mediclaim insurance for our workers. We have a self-regulation portal called My KYC Bank. And we also are the nodal agency for the Kimberley process. Besides that, we have 7 skilling centers and 3 certifying labs. So all in all, GJPC tries to do everything that a manufacturer and trader in the gems and jewelry industry in India would possibly need to start a business, grow his business, and then sustain it to the next level. So that's what council is trying to achieve, and which it has achieved, I would say, in the last 50 years. Next slide, please. Yeah. So the people engaged in our industry, and India, like we know, is a very populated country, and in spite of that, there are more than 4 million people employed in our industry. So it's a huge number, and we contribute a large percentage to the country's GDP. So having said that, and I'll take 2 minutes because maybe we have similarities and it's something to reflect on, especially our friends in Colombia, is that while India is obviously known for the IT sector and pharma sector, where a lot of our qualified engineers get employed, our sector is one of the, I guess, few sectors where we are able to employ youth, which is maybe not so highly qualified or educated, because as long as they have basic rotor skills, they're able to cut and polish diamonds, gemstones, manufacture jewelry, set stones in a very effective manner. The good thing about I guess the Indian the worker craftsmen that we have is that they have a flair for design and craftsmanship, which has been passed on from centuries. And that's one of the key reasons why we've been successful in cutting stones at the highest level globally, and even for manufacturing jewelry at the highest level globally, because inherently, in spite of having the best equipment, machinery, everything which is available in the world today, you still need that craftsmanship, and which India is very good at. Besides that, we have these special economic zones, which were set up 20 years back, and they continue to be a very, I guess, robust engine for our export business because of the ease of doing business in these SEZs. We have more than 500 manufacturing units in our SEZs in Jaipur, Surat, Bombay, Noida, across the country. We have 400 jewelry clusters. Our exports today are $36 billion. At peak, we used to be 40. We had a degrowth last year because of the economic situation globally. But it still is one of the largest exporting industries out of India. In terms of carats, we export 158 million carats, 42% in total imports of 377 million carats, especially when it comes to the diamond side. So 14 out of 15 diamonds in the world are cut and polished in India. So we've practically captured, I guess, whatever there was to capture, at least in terms of volume. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now, India's share in the global business. So the global exports of gems and jewelry are $629 billion as per the data from UN. So in that $629 billion, India's share is close to 6%. So we rank 5th after Switzerland, US, Hong Kong, UK. India ranks 5th, and our aspiration as an industry is to be the largest exporter in the world of gems and jewelry, everything in our industry. So we've also broken down the different segments and what India's ranking is in those segments. So in gold jewelry, we are at 2nd. In diamonds, obviously, we're the global leaders. Silver jewelry, we rank number 2. Gemstones, we rank number 5. Imitation 11, and in synthetic diamond gemstones, we rank 2nd. So those are our rankings in in those separate cross sections when it comes to exports. So what are the possibilities? And this is what we wanted to highlight. So our exports to Colombia, if you look at the last 5 years, are actually quite low. While our imports from Colombia are at the $400 million mark. And this is something which obviously concerns us as a country, as a trade, that why aren't we able to export more to Colombia, or what is it that we can export to Colombia? And at the same time, what is it that we can also import from Colombia, which will help our industry? Next slide. So over here, what we export is a little bit of gold jewelry, silver, imitation. Again, I guess, and we should use this opportunity, and maybe this is just the first session, but maybe we have a little more detailed, discussion maybe the next time we meet, as to what our challenges are and how do we cross them, and what can we do to export more to Colombia. What we import is mainly gold. So India, and if you all don't know, but we're the 2nd largest consumer of gold in the world after China. And, so I guess we'll continue to be a large customer for you when it comes to gold. And what the imports are, again, it's, a very small amount. But what Colombia imports from the world in gold jewelry is 17, in silver 12, and in imitation 17. So we do have scope of growth when it comes to the Indian side on increasing that business in the domestic market over there in Colombia, even in these 3 verticals. So on the gemstone side, we cut, I guess, in India, every gemstone there is possible in the world. We cut 90% of emeralds, and practically all of tanzanite is cut and polished in India. We process nearly 300 different varieties of precious and semi-precious stones. We're the largest manufacturer of gemstones, amongst the top 5 exporters of colored gemstone in the world. Pricing and variety, especially which is available in India, is massive. So there is not, I guess, one color or shape which is not available. So that would be, again, a huge potential when it comes to exports, that whether we can develop a gemstone market domestically in Colombia, especially after they're cut and polished in India. We're capable of producing small quantities at lower price, which when you compare with our competitive nations, which are China and Thailand. So that's something to keep in mind over here. And we have developed expertise in high precision, 3-dimensional carving capabilities also for semi-precious stones, which could be made to order, special specifications. So, and most of our manufacturers, practically, I guess, they make for every brand in the world. So that's already happening. And they would be more than happy to even, I guess, work with Colombian retailers, manufacturers on what else we can do over here to grow this business, especially when it comes to precious and semi-precious stones. Yeah, next. Gold and silver jewelry, we do, I guess, again, everything possible: yellow, white, red, silver. One thing which I wanted to highlight over here is that single cuts, which is extremely difficult. There are nearly 300, 400 stones per carat over here. Extremely difficult to manufacture at the cost at which India manufactures. So this could be another potential for Indian exports to Colombia again, which is silver jewelry with single cuts in it. It's basically used in $20 to $100 kind of price point jewelry. And then, of course, there's the handcrafted filigree jewelry, which again could be a potential market. Yeah, next. The imitation jewelry, which I guess Colombia is a large market for. So we produce all kinds of products of, whether it's necklace, bangle, earring, waist belts, pendants, every category there is. There's hundreds of kinds of jewelry, whether it is wooden jewelry, shell jewelry, thread, glass bead. Again, if you all came to IIJS, you would see the broad variety which is available. It's obviously very cost effective because we're extremely, I guess the labor in India is very affordable, and the metals and raw material available is practically, again, everything, whether it's brass, copper, zinc, aluminium, iron, and we're compliant with all the global best practices also. So when it comes to producing nickel-free jewelry, especially since it's hypoallergic and nickel is not good for pierced ears and I guess any kind of body jewelry. So our manufacturers are also they're experts in manufacturing jewelry which are nickel-free. So imitation jewelry, gemstones, and other kind of silver and gold jewelry. These are what we think could be potential exports to Colombia. Next. Just wanted to show you some, so we do CAD CAM. If you see that image of the factory, all our factories are high tech, a lot of women working. Again, I think one of the things I can highlight over here is that we also employ a lot of physically challenged employees in the factories, which is not so easy for other industries, especially when it comes to deaf and mute and things like that. But if you came to any of our zones, you would see a huge amount of labor workforce, which the industry is basically trained and who weren't in the jewelry industry to begin with. Yeah, next slide. So how we can do this in these post-COVID times? One is obviously we're doing the India Global Connect. We could organize a virtual buyer seller meet. If you all could help us get connected with buyers in Colombia for all the verticals that we mentioned. And of course, there are events which are happening from the council end practically every month. So we'll make sure that you all are on the mailing list. We have a great website. If you go to gjpc.org, everything that we do is on our website. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We are quite active on social media, which will keep your members also abreast of everything which is happening on the council side. Yeah, next slide. So thank you from all of us at council. This was just a quick, not so quick maybe, but synopsis of everything which council does, and we're very eager to have a greater business relationship tie with your beautiful country. And on a lighter note, Suresh ji is promised with all his expertise on South America to help us grow our business in that part of the world. Thank you. Over to you, Edie.
Thank you, Chairman, Mr. Colin Shah. And we move to the main session of today. And I would invite our panelists and to set the context, Mr. Christian Salamanca, who is the Executive Director of the Colombia India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and he will moderate the session from now onward. So over to you, Mr. Christian Salamanca.
Good evening in India and good morning in Colombia. Thank you so much, Mr. Rai, ladies and gentlemen, all our special guests, and special thanks to the Ambassador of India, Mr. Sanjeev Ranjan, Mr. Suresh Kumar, Joint Secretary, Mr. Jaime Mantilla, Executive President of the Colombian Chamber of Commerce, and Mr. Colin Shah for your introduction to JJPC. Today, I can say is a Friendship Day. In Colombia, we celebrate Friendship Day, and it's good that today we are among friends, friends that are willing to share their experience, their knowledge. I think this has opened up the interest for this sector between our countries. Before introducing the companies, I would like to say that in the past, very far away in the past, there have been a few moments where India and Colombia have been connected. And the first one is our traditions, like Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth and is well respected in India, and wealth in India is represented by the gold that comes from her hand. And in Colombia, you have the legend of El Dorado, which many try to find in this part of the world. But on the other hand, we have the Mughal emerald. I found the Mughal emerald made with a Colombian emerald with beautiful scripting that was made on it. So basically, the connection between India and Colombia in this regard, I was talking to one of the Colombian businessmen yesterday, and he was telling me he's been there for 35, 40 years, but according to this research, it probably could go beyond that, which is very, very interesting. So I would like to welcome all the panelists. We have panelists from India and from Colombia. We have designed the format to ask specific questions about each part of the market, the expectations, what are the procedures, information that we consider crucial. And the idea is to make a dialogue as friends, to see how we see each other and where we can complement each other. So if you please, can you put the presentation? Thank you so much. You can go. So Mr. Jaime Mantilla, who already spoke on the panel. Next, please. We have Mr. Álvaro Ávila from ANG International, and Álvaro Ávila as a brand. This is the profile and experience of his company. Next, please. We have Mrs. Ana María Sierra from Moda Elan. She will have the opportunity to share more about her experience. This is the profile of her company and experience. Next, please. Mr. Andrés Hurtado from El Edén Joyas. This is his company profile and market experience. Next, please. Mrs. Ingrid Burgos, Miss Ingrid Burgos from Studio Ingrid Burgos. She is into sculpture and design jewelry, and her experience in the international market. Next, please. We welcome Mr. Edwin Molina from Apricol. He is into the emeralds world because it's a very important market. Next, please. We have now Mr. Guillermo Galvis from Acodes, a very important person that has also had a lot of experience with India. So welcome, Mr. Guillermo from Acodes. Next, please. ¿Podemos escuchar algún micrófono que está abierto para que por favor lo cierren? Gracias. Also, we would like to welcome Mr. Johnny Basalel from CI Bogota Emerald Smart SaaS, also from the emerald sector with a vast experience in this trading with India. And now we would like to welcome also Mr. Ram Babu Gupta from Silver Mountain, from Silver Jewelry, and his business experience. Next, please. Also, a warm welcome to Mr. Vijay Kedia from Kedia Gem Impex. He's into precious, semi-precious stones, especially emeralds. Next, please. Mr. Arvind Gupta from Galant Jewelry. He's into export of gold and silver jewelry. Next, please. Also, we would like to welcome Mr. Rohit Gupta from Agra Products Private Limited. He's into sterling silver jewelry. Next, please. Also, we welcome Mr. Ankur Shah from Anj Jewels. He's into the emerald market. Next, please. Okay. So, all welcome. And I must say that Colombia is a very important country in the region. Maybe I'm not sure if it was mentioned in the presentation, but with Colombia, you have a market potential of 600 million people around Colombia. So I hope the outcomes of this discussion can help us to find ways to collaborate and to strengthen this relationship between our countries in the jewelry and gemstone sector. So my first question goes to Miss Ingrid. Ingrid, are you there? Is
Yes,
Ingrid?
let me just.
Okay. Hola,
Sorry,
Ingrid.
sorry. Hola.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are
Very
you
good.
doing?
Okay, Ingrid, my first question is, what is your perception about Indian gem and jewelry manufacturing capacities? I know you have been in India, so what is your perception now before going to India, now that you've been to India, of this sector in India, and what is the capabilities of the country, and whatever other idea you would like to share with us?
Well, I think India it has a huge capacity. I mean, there are 1 billion persons. They have a strong roots in handcrafts. So they are working in this area for a long time. I think the kind of products that we get in Colombia are like a few kind. India has a lot of things to offer. Unfortunately, I think the market here would be different in terms of jewelry. We get like more fashion and more everyday casual, but in India, I think the very luxurious market, it's like amazing to see. Like a person like me going to see all these stones, we don't see emeralds so much here, but like the previous person was saying that 90% of the emeralds are cut in India and they're coming from Colombia. So we don't see that kind of jewelry here in Colombia. So for me, it was an amazing experience to see. And I mean, the way that they work, it's just incredible. There's so much to learn from India.
Okay. So continue with this conversation in the same line. I would like to ask Mr. Arvind Gupta, what trade possibilities do you foresee between India and Colombia counterparts in gem and jewelry sector, specifically to silver jewelry products? Mr. Arvind, are you there? Is Mr. Arvind there?
Mr. Arvind, unmute yourself. Mr. Arvind, unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. I would say I believe Colombia is an emerging market for the silver jewelry because it's a developing country, it's a developing economy where purchasing power is not very high. So silver jewelry is a very good and pocket-friendly alternative for the Colombian consumers. However, I feel personally there is not enough communication between Indian exporters and Colombian importers and retailers. So I believe more events in person or virtual ones like this will help us in future to improve our communication and synergies. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Arvind, have you been to Colombia before?
Never before. I would like to be there. Yes, for sure. Maybe soon Mr. Chairman will organize some in-person seminar or some kind of maybe event over there. So we would like to be there.
Okay.
I hope it's a very good market for us. Yeah.
Yeah. And what is your general perception of Colombia? Just briefly. Just what is the idea you have?
I think Colombians are very beautiful people, and we really would like to increase our business with Colombia. And I wish maybe after this initiative, which has taken by GJEPC and Colombian Council, in near future, we will going to increase a good amount of business between India and Colombia. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Arvind. Thank you, Ingrid, also for your inputs. I believe that experience with India is amazing. Is Mr. Andres there? I will keep shifting between India and Colombia. I will travel 1,000 kilometers, 10,000 kilometers to make the questions. So is Mr. Andres there, please?
Yeah, hi, Christian.
Hi, Mr. Andres. How are you?
Fine, and you? Good evening in India.
I'm great. So thank you for being here in this panel, Andres. I know we know the Colombian businessmen are putting a lot of efforts in promoting their products and opening new opportunities. And indeed, India is a very interesting thing. But from India, they would like to know something. What do you think are the latest trends for silver jewelry in Colombia? Do you think there is a trend, or how is the consumption of jewelry made in Colombia? If you can complement the answer will be fine.
Okay. Well, I think Colombian jewelry comes from a pre-Hispanic goldsmith tradition, you know. So we ancestral techniques where we handle techniques such as cut work, embossing, and smooth pieces. So among others, based on this knowledge, it has been transformed into a contemporary designs, making Colombian jewelry begin to have an international recognition. So regarding trends, Colombian silver jewelry doesn't have a market trend, I think so, in my opinion, because the inspiration of many of the designers has been from its origin, you know. Like for example, in our case, we're inspiration are in fauna and flora from Colombia. Mm. Consumers are concerned that the production and materials used in the jewelry are sustainable. It's very important of that. And in addition to the to a beautiful jewel, they care about the manufacturing process that are fair and ethical, as well as with the materials. In the case of silver that my company work, mm, traceability must be demonstrated from the extraction of the mining to the product and the market of this jewel. In addition to the customer of silver jewelry, values to work done by hand and the identity. As for the weight, they prefer them to be light and soft. They care to the products have a high quality with fine finishes, and that the material is gold or silver have a guarantee of certificate. I think so, in my opinion.
Thank you so much, Mr. Andres, for these amazing points you have made about the jewelry market in Colombia. Mr. Rohit Gupta, sorry. Are you there?
Yeah, good
Can you
morning.
confirm? Good morning. So, as you can see, silver or imitation jewelry market is growing in Colombia. How can Indian exporters be connected with its counterparts over there? How do you think that connection should be made?
We have to understand that silver jewelry market in Colombia. How is the silver jewelry market in Colombia? And see, India is a very price competitive country where availability of semi-precious stones and talent to produce handcrafted jewelry is there in India with a very strong price point, which is also stated by Rajanji. As visibility is very important, trade shows are expensive, but are still the best way to represent and showcase and to communicate on one-to-one basis. So we need to organize trade show between India and Colombia, or Colombia should organize a trade show where at least once a year. So it brings an opportunity for the exporters from India to represent India on a trade show platform in Colombia. This pandemic has also given way to communicate through a digital platform, as what we are doing today. The Council and the Chamber of Commerce between both the countries can organize one-to-one meetings and interactions between buyers and sellers in both areas. Chain of stores can represent, manufacturers can represent each other, and then have an informal or formal interaction, and then see where they can find a place in the Colombian market. I see that there is a huge opportunity for India to be to have a representation of Indian exports of silver jewelry in Colombia. I export to 38 nations, and unfortunately, I don't export to Colombia. And the reason is, I believe, is the visibility. So if the visibility is strong, there can be a good representation.
Okay. So, Mr. Rohit, just to add one more thing, Colombia jewelry sector is growing, and it also has some special designs and taste and materials. We have here with us companies that work on ethical development, the design, silver that doesn't affect nature. Do you think, is there a way that also we can collaborate between India and Colombia in that experience? Like you said, I'm exporting to 38 countries. Do you think some bridge can be built between both countries to explore, to to gain a little of your experience, or maybe to create something that, with the added value of India, the Colombian jewelry can reach other parts of the world?
Yes, of course. There can be a bridge. There can be a technology transfer. There has to be a understanding between both the markets. And once you develop a level of understanding between both the markets, you have an exchange of ideas where the Indian expertise on handcrafted jewelry, on semi-precious stones, filigree designs in Colombia, or lightweight jewelry in India and then exported to Colombia.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Rohit, for these insights.
Yes.
Mr. Alvaro, are you there?
One moment. Okay. Hello.
Sí, Mr. Alvaro, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. We can hear some echo, if you can.
Ya le estoy apagando, disculpa.
Listo.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Alvaro. Indian imitation jewelry is vast, as carries the capabilities to produce numerous kinds of imitation jewelry in different techniques, like oxidized threads, beads, wooden, ceramic, enamel, etc. What do you think, in your opinion, what kind of imitation jewelry products are the most prevalent in the Colombian market from your experience? And if you need translation, it's okay.
Por favor.
Okay, puedes hablar por bloques y yo voy traduciendo para que no me pierdan la idea.
Traducir la pregunta, por favor.
Sí, la joyería de imitación pues tiene digamos, unos rangos muy amplios y que se produce de muchas formas. Se produce oxidada, se produce con hilo, se produce con semillas, con madera, con cerámica. En su opinión y del conocimiento que usted tiene del mercado acá, ¿qué cree usted son de este tipo de productos, cuáles son los más prevalentes que hay en Colombia?
Saúl.
Yes, Mr. Álvaro, are you there?
Discúlpeme, yo lo perdí cuando empezó con la pregunta.
Ok,
discúlpeme,
te repito la pregunta. No, no hay problema. La pregunta es, teniendo en cuenta que de la joyería de imitación que existe en el mercado hay diferentes técnicas para producirlas, ¿sí? Esto es una pregunta obviamente que están interesados de la India. ¿Cuáles cree usted que son los productos que más prevalecen en Colombia en ese sector de la joyería de fantasía o de la joyería de moda? Si está, por ejemplo, lo que son los que son hechos con hilos o en madera o en cerámica.
Ok. La respuesta entonces sería la siguiente. Colombia y el mercado colombiano desde hace más o menos unos 10 años para adelante.
Colombia, déjame yo traduzco esa parte. Colombia, from 10 years ago, has gained the Colombian market from 10 years ago has gained interest.
Y el consumidor colombiano se ha, digamos, culturizado un poco más con respecto a la compra de joyería.
So the interest of the market has been culturized. There is a lot of interest in the consumption of jewelry.
Independientemente de los materiales que se trabajen, el consumidor colombiano lo que busca es un alto diseño, ¿sí?
Independently of the materials that are used to make the jewelry, the Colombian consumer is focused in high design.
Y marcas con un ADN propio y que se distinga de las demás marcas del mundo.
And is focused on brands with their own DNA and that are different from the other parts of the world.
Y digamos lo que el mercado ahorita está consumiendo es más diseño y ADN de marca.
So what the market is, the consumption of the actual market right now is more focused on design, exclusive DNA, and this brand design, something that is a brand is recognized for its own design.
Y marcas que cuenten historia a través de su joyería.
And brands that are telling stories through their jewelry, the jewelry products.
Okay. Listo.
Thank you, Mr. Alvaro.
Gracias.
Okay, we will move ahead. I hope you are finding this webinar very useful. I believe the information shared here is of good quality, and that you find it very useful to all our people who are following the conversation. Mr. Ankur Shah, are you there?
Yeah, hi. How are you?
I'm good, Mr. Ankur. Thank you so much for being here today with us.
Thank you, Christian. You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you so much. Like I said, I'm traveling 10,000 kilometers each time I ask a question. So moving ahead with our next question, Colombia is greatly into mining of high quality gemstones, and India has the expertise in cutting and polishing of these gemstones. How can we create synergies between two countries to enhance gem and jewelry trade? Also, can India be a hub for Colombian emeralds? Do you think that is possible?
Yeah, definitely it is possible. I think there are a couple of things if we improve upon, like the logistics, because from shipping from Colombia to India, it's not very easy. We have to travel a lot. And maybe the duty structure, because you import Colombian emeralds directly, there is a duty, so there is a hindrance toward that. So if the government can support in that matter, so that can increase the volume of Colombian emeralds coming into India, because the demand is definitely there. I've been dealing in Colombian emeralds for last 15 years, and I can suggest that it's not going down. It keeps increasing. The supply is tough. So if we have more Colombian emeralds coming to India, we can sell more.
Okay. So thank you, Mr. Ankur, for your insights. But is Mr. Vijay Kedia there?
Yes. Hi. Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Mr. Vijay. So continue with the same question in the same sector. Is the emerald widely used in India? Sometimes I've been to India many times, but I don't see a lot of people wearing emeralds. They wear other kind of stones because of their belief.
No, that is
what is
right.
the consumption pattern?
Yeah. No, but India has a long history of the using of the emerald. If you see the ancient paintings, ancient jewelry, I mean, so you will find in the crown there will be emerald. The antique jewelry you will see the emerald. So emerald is using in India since long time before. So the history is still hold its significance at Jaipur, widely known as the Pink City, is the biggest cutting center for the emerald in the world. We import the rough mainly from Zambia, Brazil, and other African countries of the emerald, and convert into the beautiful cut and emerald world and export to the worldwide. Earlier, we used to import rough Colombian from the Colombia, but now these days, Colombia itself, they are cutting very nice, so they are cutting themselves. So we are importing the finished product, what they cut there. So we are importing, and we make the jewelry here, and we export the jewelry. That jewelry we sell in the local market also. We have some duty on the finished goods, because like rough, we have only the 0.05%, and in the finished product, we have the duty of the like 7%. So we are already requesting to the government that reduce this duty, so we can directly import your emerald, Colombian emerald finish, and we can set in the jewelry. So like that, you can export to us more, and we can make the jewelry and sell in the local market and export to the different countries like USA, like Russia, like Japan, because as you know, in Japan, Colombian emerald people like too much. So we can import, because we are the specialty in the making the jewelry and nice designs. So we can make the jewelry and we can export. Same manner, we want to ask in this platform that in Colombia, there's too much jewelry, too much duty on the jewelry. So if you reduce the jewelry duty in Colombia, so we can export like the silver jewelry and another jewelry to the Colombia. So like that, we can improve the market Indo-Colombian. And if these two things happen, I think our meeting will be the success.
Great, great. No, it's a great remark. Yes, indeed, Mr. Kedia, Colombia imposes 15% tariff for the imports of jewelry coming from abroad, and there is also the VAT, no, 19%. So you're right. Maybe it's too high, but there is something that our governments can discuss and see what ways it can be solved or to work on that. So. I would like to move ahead back to Colombia with Ingrid. Ingrid, are you there? Thank you so much, Mr. Kedia, for your insights.
Yes, I'm here.
Hello, Ingrid. Do you think people in Colombia are open to experiment to new kinds of silver fashion jewelry which are from India's traditional heritage collection? Do you think that it can happen?
I think yes and no. Yes, because
why yes and no?
Yes,
what is that?
I think yes, because I think we are open to try new things, but the way that Indian women dress as Colombian women dress are completely different. So I think it will be like a barrier for that. And some of the things won't work here, but some others will work. And no, because I think there's a huge trend, I think worldwide, in keeping traditions alive, going back to the roots, buying everything locally. And I think all the designers that we're working with jewelry are actually looking forward to do that, like to make their customers, like our customers, like pride of our roots. Actually, we have to learn about the DNA of India, because DNA of jewelry from India is very strong. So I think nowadays, I think Colombian women or in general customers are looking to actually support more local artisans, to support the local techniques. And actually, like Alvaro was saying before, is looking like something like tell a story to start a conversation. So I think that's the thing. From my point of view, obviously, it's like, I want to say don't bring Indian jewelry, but I said like it could work, but also actually could not.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. There is a tendency on this side of the world that there is a recognition with the roots. All the same, I think also India has the capacity maybe to provide
what we
jewelry.
can do is actually make collaborations. Actually, what we can do is like from our perspective and with their production, what we can do is bringing design to them and to make them understand what is the local, like how can we collaborate between each other. So I think that is actually what we can like build that bridge that you were talking about.
Okay. That is Colombianize the design, to Colombianize the design.
And bring it, like probably we can actually start to collaborate. We can actually design for them if they want to bring something, or they can make parts here because actually they can combine, or we can do there. And actually, for example, we don't do like, for example, chains in Colombia. Everything is imported from Italy. And I know that India has a lot of capacity now to actually bring that market to Colombia, or like the metal parts, or actually tools or machines, like all this technology that actually India is developing now. I think that could be actually very interested to actually all the people who is working in this industry.
Yeah, Mr. Gupta was mentioning now in the chat also the components. We can certainly work on that. No, thank you so much for your insights, Ingrid. I very much appreciate it. Miss Anna, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Anna. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning to Colombia. Good morning to all the entrepreneurs in India.
I will ask you two questions. The first one, you already know. And then I will move to the second one, because I have seen something of what you are doing, and maybe you can explain to us the kind of work that you are doing briefly. But the first one is, are semi-precious stones trending in Colombian market? Do you think there is something that Colombians, we consume a lot or not?
I would answer with a big yes. If I were to describe very briefly the market in Colombia, it's a pyramid. On top, you have fine jewelry, and it's mostly imported from Italy, some from Europe, and very few from small workshops that produce to these shops that have fine jewelry. You also have the well-known maison. You have Cartier, you have some from Brazil and so on. And that is a niche market. Then you have a growing middle class, and not only we call the middle class, but under that, there's these people that is really making a big effort to make a living. And they need to become, to be well received in new spaces, in their labor areas. And so they need to wear something that looks like fine jewelry. So that is the bottom of the pyramid, and their imitation jewelry has a huge opportunity. In the middle, you have well-educated women who are already professionals, and that has to do with what Alvaro and Ingrid and Andres have mentioned. And those women are women who are willing to wear design. It's a self-expression jewelry. It's a narrative jewelry. It's jewelry that has a strong design. It's embedded in the roots, the local roots, and all that.
Hello.
In fine jewelry, the trend now, and I think it's a worldwide trend, has to do with investment. So they're looking for well-known brands, world-renowned.
Vikrant, I think something is going on with the signal.
No, I think so. It's okay.
Do you hear me?
Yes. Anna, can you repeat, please?
Okay, so in these 3 layers, just briefly, in the fine jewelry is almost all everything is imported. There are some very well goldsmiths in Colombia that produce for those shops. And mostly the same around the world is diamonds, some rubies, and it's only precious stones and pearls. When you go to the other 2 layers, the one that is growing the most for these professional women that are willing to self-express and tell the other people what their character is, they love semi-precious. The semi-precious stone in the layer of the designer's jewelry adds a lot of perceived value with low cost. So there's a huge space there. And then in the imitation jewelry, you would find a lot of Swarovskis and all these type of, but also if you want to be on top of the imitation jewelry, you might use semi-precious stones. What will you find here as substitutes? One has to say, am I there again or not?
Yeah. Now we can hear you.
What will you find as substitutes? There's an importer that uses a lot and offers the market everything you need in terms of, I don't know the word in English, Swarovski and all these things, crystals.
Yes, crystals.
Yeah. And there is already a market for semi-precious stones. There are non-certified stones. That is a huge opportunity. If you can tell the local jewelers and also the large producers of fashion jewelry, which in that middle layer, it's big. There's a lot of there's 2 large producers that produce in Colombia fashion jewelry and export it around. If you can bring them semi-precious stones and they can know the origin, they will love it, because it's very hard to find precious or semi-precious stones that you can certify the origin in Colombia. There's a lot of import, but you don't know where they come from. And we're more and more willing to know the origin of our materials. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Anna. I think we will move to the next question a little later, because I was checking your company's profile and what you are doing, but we will come back a little later so we can cover other things that are related to this. and then you can share with us what is the type of job, the work that you are doing. Mr. Colin Shah, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Hello, Mr. Colin, and thank you so much. During the pandemic time, people across the world have gone through social and financial challenges. Are there any innovations in the Indian industry during this time? What is the biggest challenge in the industry at the moment? What is your experience in that regard?
Thank you. So our challenge, I guess, has moved in the last couple of quarters. So when the lockdown, India, we had one of the longest lockdowns, I guess, globally. So our lockdown started in March and it actually got lifted only towards August, September. So I guess in the first quarter for everyone, the largest challenge was cash flow. And that really, I guess, affected all businesses because, gold prices went up, silver prices went up. So everyone had to, they had their repayments with the banks, they were paying salaries to the employees. So I guess the cash flow challenge got, I guess, maybe overcome in the last 2-3 months as the lockdown started. But I guess the industry is not the same. So everyone has gone through a lot of changes internally on cost cutting, on changing their product profile, on reducing inventories. So I guess post pandemic, the industries basically become, I would say, extremely cost conscious. They've become extremely focused on building products which work, and not too much of experimental kind of jewelry. And I guess the boon in disguise for the industry has been a huge cost for, I guess, everyone used to be travel and exhibitions. So that's become virtual. And now that stores have started across the world, there is retail demand. And since there is retail demand, I guess even though they would prefer to meet physically and have a look at product, touch, feel, all that, but customers are buying today virtually. So I guess the greatest change which maybe happened in our industry is that from many years, everyone was saying internet's the future, uh, virtual digital platforms should be used for, I guess, transacting business. But the only true virtual platform which was maybe used was only for diamonds, where, diamond portals were popular and being used since many years on certified diamonds, especially the larger diamonds. But what has happened today is that whether it's jewelry in any category, whether it's small diamonds, everything is being sold virtually. And I guess even in a few quarters when things get back to normal, maybe this won't change. And there will be a combination of digital and physical. So the industry is innovated. I guess everyone has adapted to the new reality and people are back in business. So I guess it's working also, this whole virtual innovation on digital and adapting to the new digital economy.
Thank you, Mr. Colin. Thank you for sharing with us the actual situation which has hit us, all of us around the world. Mr. Johnny, are you there?
I'm here.
Hello, Mr. Johnny, and thank you for being here with us. I will ask the two questions in one because I believe they are related. Do you believe that are emeralds stones trending in Colombian market? Being a producer of emeralds, do you think they are trending? This question I don't know, but I need to ask: have you exported emeralds to India, and since when? Right? Please go ahead.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you and thank everybody for such a wonderful webinar. I'm very honored to be a part of this distinguished panel. I really appreciate it. Thank you. The first question that you had, I have to agree with Anna, what she said earlier. Mainly what you see as final user here, end user in Colombia, is mainly semi-precious. Colombian emerald, about 95% or more is exported from the country. I don't know why they don't use it more here. It could be a price issue. It could be a security issue. Some women are scared to use nicer jewelry, maybe. but most of it is exported and they don't use it here. The second part of your question, yes, definitely. My father, Benny, has been in this industry for over 40 years, and a lot of that time, over 30 years, has been dealing with India. About half of our business, half of our clients are from India. Not just living in India, but they live all around the world, the United States, Italy, Germany, Hong Kong, Bangkok. We do a lot of business with them all around. And you know, the one thing that I really appreciate with the Indian clientele that we have is their loyalty. They're always with us. They're always want to continue business with us. It's not a one-time thing. Even when I started in this business about 15 years ago, I'll never forget, they called my father and they congratulated him for me joining him in the business. At that time, I didn't understand what he meant. I didn't understand what they meant. They said we're celebrating. I didn't understand, but now I understand. And I really appreciate it. And it always stuck in my mind. It was something that I always remembered. At that time, when I started the business, we were exporting about 80 to 100 kilos of rough every month to India for beads. And over the years, it became more and more difficult. We couldn't get as much production. We couldn't send as much, unfortunately. But I'm happy to say, and I'm happy to announce that my father and I, we've been able to do some strategic alliances, a few partnerships, and we were able to buy a few shares in a few different mines in the Muzo and Kipama region. And all of those mines are going to be combined to be one big mine. And we are hopeful that it's going to be, we're going to be able to get again all that production again and be able to do a lot of business. It's approximately a little over 1,200 acres of land. And we're very excited. This could be the biggest, largest emerald mine in Colombia, and it could be the largest emerald mine in the world.
Wow, that's a great news, Mr. Johnny, and we would like to congratulate you and your father for this amazing step. The next question, Mr. Johnny, is: do we have any restrictions of exporting raw precious gemstones from Colombia to the world? Do you think there is any restriction on that, or what do you?
Many restrictions. When I started here, I used to have hair and it was black also. It's very complicated to do an export nowadays. Let's start from the beginning. Let's say Colombia, here we have to do underground mining, which is already difficult, versus Zambia, where they can do open air and they can use bulldozers. I'm not sure if that's changed over the years, but Colombia, because of the environment, and we understand everything must be underground, so it takes more time. Another situation that we have here, if we do not buy directly from the mine and we buy from somebody called a guaquero barrequero, which is a traditional miner, they're only allowed to sell us 600 carats of cut emerald per year, or 50 carats a month. So that restriction is difficult. It's a pain. They're allowed to sell us 12,000 carats of rough or morralla, the lower quality rough. This is also, used mainly for beads. Another issue that we have here as an exporter is that we are only allowed to keep inventory for 6 months. If I don't sell within those 6 months, I have a big problem. I can renew, but I've never done the renewal. Luckily, I can turn over quickly, but I can't keep an inventory for more than 6 months, or I could lose the license of an exporter. Before, I'd say about 5-6 years ago, before all these restrictions, I could do up to 4 exports in one day, and I knew that my clients could take it with them. They could take the merchandise with them. Before the pandemic, I could do maybe 2 exports in about 2 days with no guarantee of them taking it because of all the new paperwork and double work. And my clients, they don't want to do double work. So I could do 2 exports in about 2 days with no guarantee of them taking it because of all the new paperwork and double work. And my clients, they don't want to do double work. So I could do 2 exports in about 2 days with no guarantee of them taking it because of all the new paperwork and double work. And They don't like to be next to me on the day of the export because it's a lot of tension, a lot of stress. And now during the pandemic, it's even more difficult. Um, I've done only a few exports in the last 8 months, and it takes about 3 to 4 days to do one export.
Oh, that's amazing information, which I think it places us in a very interesting context of how this is made, the difficulties, and why sometimes takes time. But it's very
Well,
useful
Mr.
information, Johnny.
Mr. Galvis, who is our president of the Association of the Exporters, and I am the vice president of the exporters. We've been trying to talk a lot with the government to try to help us with this. It's not an easy task. I know he's been working very hard on this, and I've been his backup a lot on this. And we hope that it can go back to where it was. We can do 2, 3, 4 exports in one day, because this generates, you know, taxes for the country. It brings more people here to buy. It's easier. It's competitive. The United States, at the most, it takes them half an hour to do an export, or if they want to do it themselves, or they call Brinks, and Brinks takes the goods, and they go. It's very simple. Hopefully one day we can get to the same level.
Wow. No, thank you, Mr. Johnny, for your insights. They're very useful to us today in this panel. Mr. Vijay Kedia, once again,
Yeah.
how can Colombia benefit in a strategic alliance with India for gemstone polishing? Can India be considered a hub for emeralds? I think I mentioned this question before, but do you really think that can happen? I know Hong Kong is a hub for many of the emeralds that go out from Colombia, but do you think India can do it? And what do we need to make it possible?
No, as I told you before, still India is the hub for the emerald. We import, I think, in Zambia, we import the 90% of the rough production from the Zambia. Even the Brazil, we import the 90% of the rough production of the Brazil, and we cut in the Jaipur. And the Jaipur is the color stone, like Mr. Sanjeev Ranjan say, that there's a color stone, colorful garments, but I say there's a color stone too much in Jaipur. And Jaipur cut all the precious and semi-precious stone. Like Miss Christina say, that semi-precious stone there is beautiful and too much they can use. So we also cut the too much semi-precious stone. We import the rough of the semi-precious from around the world, and we cut all the shapes and all the size and everything, and we sell by the certificate. Like the Christina says that she need the certificate, so people will be more like. So this is we sell by the certificate. So, and like the Colombian emerald, as I told you before, if the duty will be come down in India, and we are trying for that, so we can, because I know now, like Johnny say, before he used to export too much rough of the Colombian rough. Even I import from him too much in quantity, 200 kilo, 300 kilo, the low grade. But still this is not possible, because in Colombia, whatever they produce, they cut themselves and they export around the world. So for the Zambia, for the Brazil, and another, we have the hub. For the Colombian, we are trying to reduce the duty so we can import more, and we can make the nice jewelry for the Colombian emerald. So Jaipur is the hub for the emerald. This I can say.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kedia.
I invite to Mr. Sanjeev Rajan that they bring the delegation, and we will take care for all the delegation, and we can show everything in the Jaipur, what we have. We have the colorful garments and colorful color stone, all kinds of color stone.
Thank you.
Indeed, Mr. Sanjeev Ranjan mentioned the desert, and it was Mr. Ambassador. Thank you so much for that. Those words, I went there in my mind to that beautiful Rajasthan desert, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Mr. Ram Babu Gupta, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello, Mr. Gupta. Thank you for being here with us today. India is specialized in making various kinds of silver and platinum jewelry. How can we collaborate with Colombian counterparts of sourcing raw material?
India is manufacturing quality silver and imitation jewelry, both through handmade and machine-made processes in various designs, which is complying all the prescribed standards of the world. It would be a great idea to collaborate with Colombia for supplying raw material like silver, gold, platinum to India, which can be manufactured to a jewelry in India. But for the same, the government from both the sides must initiate a dialogue and policy to facilitate the same. I would request Ministry of Commerce and Embassy of India to take this forward. India-Colombia Chambers of Commerce to pursue their government for allowing this to happen. This is my opinion, will create win-win situation for both India and Colombia.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much. Tell me.
About silver jewelry, I want to say something more also. Like Ingrid say, in India we make also all over world quality. So anything people give to us in India, we can produce, whether they give design or anything. Other thing we do beads and parts and in stones also, in silver jewelry and in gold, all the metals. So that with that they can create the jewelry also. So there is many chance to do the things.
Okay.
Lot of
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta, for this information. Mr. Guillermo, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Guillermo, Mr. Guillermo, thank you so much for being here. I know GJPC delegation visited your Emerald Symposium in 2018. For me also was a very great experience to have been there and share the information from this sector. I would like to ask you this: what efforts we can make to have actually materialized the trade between the manufacturers, traders of both countries? What efforts do you think we should make?
Thank you, Christian, for the question. I will take a little more space because I need to say a lot of things this day. Basically, because first I want to thank Mr. Sanjeev, Mr. Suresh, Mr. Colin. Thank you for here, Christian and your President Mantilla, and especially I want to thank my father in business and the person that introduced me in India for more than 20 years ago, Mr. Rajaya Kote, this is around here, and also our friends in India, Naresh, Lydia, everyone here. We really feel Colombia have a great history with India, and it date about 400 years ago. It's not new. We are not new in business. And we are not new in business, and we do so many business every day that we forget to do sometimes maybe an agenda. We don't have an agenda. We are so good friends that we don't have an agenda sometimes. And that's maybe some of the things that we need to develop more. I really want to be very grateful. In the 2017, GJ EPC opened the door for Colombia in Jaipur, make us feeling home, give us a very special attention during the ACA Congress. They start developing the relation. 2018, GJPC and their chairman, Mr. Ramon, come to Colombia, visit. We start building some agenda and we start building some few things. I guess as most of the speakers been talking, panelists, there is a lot of points going on in the private agenda and in the public agenda. There is things about Colombia as a hub, India as a hub, right? We've been working with the laboratories from the Delhi, the GII, and the Jaipur. We've been working in an Asia Pacific Alliance that we've been developing around. So basically, we hope to develop a standard for gems and jewelry with partners in Thailand, in China, in Korea, and basically Indian Colombia. So I think we have a lot of elements going on. We have trade fairs, we have the silver jewelry here, we have the gold, the mining. So my request, I feel, will be like maybe we can create some agenda for the two countries and this relation I will call it like the precious Colombian Indian agenda. I guess that's gonna be the nice name for that. Because we feel there is many things to do, but maybe we gotta put 2 items in the list every year, and we start developing in that. And I really don't have so many other comments to make, other than say that thank you for inviting us. We have some Emerald Symposium again next year in the first months of the year. We will make it online. So maybe this is a great opportunity because India have a lot of IT resources as well. They have a lot of gemstone background, industry knowledge that we can share to the world. So maybe we can partner together to develop more this Emerald Symposium that we been hosting for the over last almost 7-8 years around. So this is also another invitation. And I feel there is a lot of things to work together. We are so good friends, and now we gotta put some elements in the trade. So we have one common agenda that we can develop slowly. That would be Christian, and thank you for organizing such a nice event, and also appreciate all the Colombians. Here is Edwin from the Producer Association. I don't know if he have some words around too, and also Mr. Benny and Mr. Johnny. So thank you everyone, and again, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Guillermo. So we are almost touching the end of this panel. I believe all our panelists from India and Colombia have been amazing. The information, we can notice the friendship that is growing, that is getting strength, and for some others is something new. And I'm very happy to be here as your moderator. Going to the last part of this webinar, and I agree with Guillermo, there are a lot of things, exchange information that we can do between India and Colombia. I would like to ask Mr. Manshuk Kotari.
Right.
GJPC is organizing various virtual business events frequently, like the virtual buyer-seller meetings. Can we expect traders, manufacturers from Colombia joining these events, giving the proper information about the same?
Yes,
Also,
sure.
Also, if you can explain us, GJPC also has some institutes also, if you can brief us about a little more on that.
So GJPC organized, we do 2 big shows, that is IIHS in August and February, physical show. But because of this pandemic, we have developed a virtual platform, and in last 2-3 months, it's helped us to boost our overall trade and exports. So, and this is the buyers and manufacturers given us a phenomenal response for this virtual platform, and it has resulted into actual business transaction. So GJPC would like to welcome all the traders, manufacturers, and the suppliers from Colombia for the virtual buyer-seller meet and exhibitions such as IIHS Virtual. So when the pandemic goes away and the conditions are better, we like to invite you physically to India to visit the show, and we'll be happy to host you. Okay. And surely keep all your the Colombian chambers and the Jewelers Association informed about the next shows, physical shows and the virtual shows. And regarding the institute, we have considered an institute called Indian Institute of Gem and Jewelry. We have a graduation program in that institute, which give us the training of manufacturing, designing, and all the new techniques for the industry. So we will send you the details of this institute also.
Okay, thank you so much. So I have one last question, and I will leave it open for any of the Indian delegates to answer. Whoever feels comfortable in answering that question is, do you think people in India are open to experiment new kinds of silver, gold, fashion jewelry that in the same way that question was asked to the Colombian side, which are from Colombia's traditional heritage collection? Like you saw in Colombia, there is a new trend. Jewelry is creating a narrative, is creating new designs. Do you think India is open for that? If any of the panelists from India would like to answer that question, you are most welcome. Is anybody? Or
Mr.
Yes, please.
Yes. Looking at the Indian side, where silver jewelry is still worn traditional in India, with the Indian costumes and all, Colombia has very high standards in making filigree jewelry and filigree silver jewelry. And I think that is a big market. That can be a big market for the Colombian manufacturers to come to India and promote that kind of jewelry, because it goes with the ethnic attire of India.
Okay. Thank you,
And-
Mr. Gupta.
Yes.
No, continue, please. I thought you were finished. No, continue.
No. So it's like, it's a very price point jewelry. It can be worn by professionals. But of course, the Indian tariffs are very, very expensive. It's 20% duty plus the 3% GST. So then both the governments have to then see, how to bring in bilateral agreement in silver jewelry, where both can transfer manufacturing aspects to each other.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta. So I believe there is one last thing, interaction I would like to give to Ms. Anna, because I saw the kind of work she's doing, and maybe she can complement what is going on in the Colombian market. So Anna, I leave you these last few minutes to mention what you've been doing in the cluster and with the jewelers and all.
Well, as you might know, there's a large trend around the world called sustainable and ethical jewelry, and it has it goes above the current country regulations. It has to do with 100% traceability of materials, sustainability of the practices, and more and more is a niche market. It's not a large market. It is large, I would say, in the UK, and it's in France, among young people, the millennials and the ones that come behind. And so in Colombia, and particularly in Bogota, at Modaland, we have been pioneering this trend, because we think, in addition to the strong design and the nice stories embedded in Colombian designers' jewelry, there's a huge opportunity for that. And in terms of the opportunities to do trade with India, what I think is there is a huge opportunity to get certified precious and semi-precious stones. It is, other than emeralds, I have to say, of course, because their origin is Colombia, it is very difficult to get certified diamonds, rubies, emeralds, pearls. And for that niche market, which is growing and gives a lot of awareness and visibility to companies, I think there's an opportunity. And the coming generations are more and more aware, and in the global agenda, sustainability is becoming more and more important. So I think there could be an opportunity for us to work together, for you to offer us stones, and for us to work with them here. And in silver also, as you might know, Colombia is a huge gold producer, and the local silver we get is from those mines. It's highly appreciated. It's 8-karat gold, but there's few. So most of the producers of silver jewelry import from Mexico and Peru. Of course, they're closer and India is farther, but there's another opportunity if you can help us get certified origin, conflict-free, mercury-free metals, and certified origin semi-precious and precious stones other than emeralds, of course.
Thank you, Anna, for this last part of the intervention. So as all of us, we can see the benefits of building this bridge between India and Colombia is important. There is a huge market in Colombia, around Colombia, of 600 million people, like ex-ambassador Viswanathan said yesterday when we exchanged some things. He mentioned that many Indians have come to the Caribbean, they're selling the jewelry, and also the possibilities of also for Colombia to become a hub for jewelry for other countries around our own country is there. We see that India has components, has technology, has innovation, has institutions from where Colombia can take advantage of that, visiting the country. Like Mr. Kotari said, that we are more than welcome to come to India, visit and create strategic partnerships. We see the trends in Colombia. The trends are not only high volume consumables, but also products that have a story, a narrative, that have quality and design. And this is becoming a trend nowadays. So I believe I would like to congratulate GJPC for taking this initiative, for counting with us at the India-Colombia Chamber of Commerce. I think the scope and the field of work is big. We need to continue this conversation so we can build a strong relationship between our countries in this sector. So I would like to say thank you so much to all of you, to the Colombian and to the Indian businessmen and designers and jewelers for being here today. Now I would like to pass the microphone to Mr. Manshuk Kotari for the vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to thank you everyone. So His Excellency Shri Sanjeev Ranjanji, Ambassador to India to Colombia, Mr. Suresh Kumar, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Jamie Mantella, Executive President of Colombia Indian Chambers of Commerce and Board Member of the Bogota Chambers of Commerce, Mr. Christiana Salmanka, Executive Director, Colombia Indian Chambers of Commerce, our Chairman Shri Colin Shah, all our CEO members, our Executive Director, Mr. Sabyasachi Ray, and all our distinguished panelists, participants from India and Colombia. Good morning to all my dear friends from Colombia, and good evening to all my participants from India. India and Colombia have set a bilateral trade target of 10 billion by 2030. And I'm sure that gem and jewelry sector will play a significant role in overall trade between two nations. Today's meeting will mark a new beginning in the building the gem and jewelry trade between India and Colombia. I'm sure both countries will create many more such opportunity to our traders to meet, network and transact business. I would like to thank you all distinguished panelists for the support and participation. Today's discussion was very engaging, insightful and meaningful. Thank you everyone. And I will like at last I will thank you all the participants from India and Colombia for their support in making the event a successful one. Thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And namaste, namaskar.
Namaskar.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.